had a really big treehouse phase a few years ago where I was constantly trying to build tree houses in The Sims, and this was a very different game back then. We didn't even have ladders when I was in this treehouse era. So imagine me trying to do it with stairs. I was doing stuff like this and I was serious about it, like these giant staircases that went all the way up into the sky. Things are a little bit easier now with some of the new build features that we've gotten. And also, we literally have a treehouse in game. This is the Growing Together treehouse. There's gameplay tied to this where your sim can build it and like add a slide and add different toys for their kids. But this is kind of a different vibe than what I want to try to build today. This treehouse kind of feels like a toy. I want to build a treehouse that is a house in the trees. Probably not with these giant staircases though. I'm just thinking more like a floating house. This is one of the trees that I used to use a ton back in my treehouse era. It's an oak tree from Outdoor Retreat. And what I think we'll do is size it up and then try and make it look like the floor is placed on top of it. So somehow, to the best of our abilities, we're gonna make it look like that tree is a support. We could put a second tree and then have like a bridge in between the two. I think it's got some potential to be really cool. Okay, so the plan is to build a fully functional tree house with all of the necessities, bedroom, bathroom, kitchen. The entire house has to be floating, and I want it to look like it's actually in the trees. It's kind of a long to-do list for what's probably gonna be a pretty small build. But let's just jump straight into the speed build and I'll kind of walk you through what I've made. So I'm building this on a 20 by 20 lot in Copperdale, which is the world that comes with high school years. And this is actually one of my favorite lots in the entire game. There's like some water and a little stream around it. There's a bridge behind it. I just think the environment in this area is one of the prettiest spots in the entirety of The Sims 4. So I love to build here. And I also think that this really has the right vibes for a treehouse. Like if you look at the area around it, it just makes sense. Like it blends in so nicely over here. There are some lots where it would be kind of random to put a big treehouse, but with this one, I feel like it actually kind of makes sense. And now you can see I'm sort of trying to figure out that layout that I had just described to you with the two separate buildings and the bridge in between them. This really is gonna be another trust the process kind of situation because a lot of the beginning of this is just me trying to figure it out because I didn't really know how I wanted to lay it all out. I didn't know how it was gonna fit together. I didn't know how big it should be and where the room should be placed and everything. So it's just a lot of experimenting until we get there in the end. So what we've got right now are these two separate rooms that are actually at two different heights because I kind of like the height variation between them. And then I could have a bridge with some stairs. And I thought that was kind of cool too. Now, I don't actually end up putting any supports underneath the bridge. The only support for the bridge is the ladder. So it might not be like super safe in real life, but in The Sims, you don't need to have any supports. You can make it completely floating and it would be fine. Gravity's not really a problem in this game. So I know it might seem a little bit strange, but I promise it's okay. I also have some balconies around like all of the different sides of these rooms. And there's a second floor on one of them too. Because again, I really like that height difference that we had going on. The one on the left is gonna be the bedroom and the bathroom. The one on the right has like the kitchen and living room downstairs. And then upstairs is kind of like a skill building sort of room. It's gonna have like a woodworking table and a candle making station. The sort of stuff that you might need if you were gonna try and live off the grid in a place like this. And then for the fence and like the little balcony stuff, I tried a bunch of different options for fences and also stair railings because I really wasn't sure what I wanted, but I settled on this one that comes from the werewolf pack. It kind of has a little bit of like a homemade sort of quality to it, and I felt like that made sense for the treehouse, but it also does not have a matching stair railing. So I tried a lot of different things, settled on like a plain black and metal one that comes from Horse Ranch because it kind of matches the wire that they have in between all of the fence posts. And we're gonna use a lot of Horse Ranch on this build. Horse Ranch columns, Horse Ranch wallpaper. I've got Horse Ranch awnings that I'm placing right now. That sort of like rustic wood look, I think makes a lot of sense for a treehouse like this. So that's why I used it everywhere. And this is the ladder that I was telling you about that is not technically a support, but it does kind of look like a support for that part of the bridge, right? So it doesn't feel super random, hopefully. Oh, and also I actually built this live over on my Twitch channel first. So if you like the idea of watching this kind of thing like in real time, it's kind of a different vibe than watching the sped up version because you have to watch me struggle with it for like 3 hours instead of 20 minutes. But it does mean that you can offer like advice. We can all sort of yap during it. It's kind of fun to watch the live streams. I guess I'm biased, but I don't know. If you want to watch them, my Twitch is just lilsimsie. I'll link that down below. And then I also post all of my live streams afterwards Discord on my second channel called More Simsie here on YouTube, and we are really close to 500,000 subscribers on More Simsie. I honestly cannot believe that. Like, I cannot wrap my head around that. This is like just the place that I post all my live streams, but if you wanted to go subscribe over there, I'll have that link down below for you too. Since I stream every day, I also post there every day, and so there's a lot of Simsie content on More Simsie. There's many hours of content. I've got like 3-hour daily videos for the past like 7-8 years. And when you put it like that, it sounds like a lot, and it is. Anyway, now that I've painted the house and also picked out the roof texture, you can kind of see the color scheme of the house and also more of the vibe kind of starting to come together. I'm using a horse ranch log cabin style wallpaper. I also have some horse ranch columns and spandrels around. I tried to connect up the back balcony too, so that the place almost has like a loop that you can walk to go around the whole thing. It's kind of annoying to get around in here because all of it is like from ladders and stuff, so I wanted it to be as connected as possible. And then I also used a mossy sort of roof texture from the Werewolves pack. I feel like it looks very one with nature putting that there. And then I was thinking about trying to have some kind of pond in the way back, and I wasn't really sure if I was liking it. Right now we have that column in there, and I didn't really want to have columns. I didn't want to have support structures if I could avoid it. So I didn't know if I loved this or if I kind of hated it. We end up doing a lot with the downstairs level, like the under part. There's lots of landscaping and plants to kind of blend it all in, but the pond was maybe a miss. So you'll see, it'll end up disappearing and we'll fix it, but I left it there for a second. Now we're kind of trying to think about doors and windows and trying to decide which ones I wanted to use. I really like the horse ranch door, but it's also a little bit wide for my purposes, so I used it on the balconies, but I didn't want it on the front as like the front door to the place. So I was trying some other things. I looked at like the laundry day door, then I kind of had a detour and switched the columns from the square ones to the round ones, and then I didn't like it, so I switched them back to the square ones. Watching this back, I'm like, oh my gosh, just get on with it, Kayla, pick the doors. It's fine, it's like a 30-second detour in the speed build. But I settled for mostly the horse ranch windows, like throughout the exterior of the place, because it kind of made the most sense. But as far as doors go, for the outside, like the front doors, I tried out the Werewolves front door. It's kind of like a plain wooden door, but it has a window in it and it's just open. There's no glass. And I thought that made a lot of sense for the inside here. And then for the interior doors, there's like a life and death door that's very similar in shape, but it doesn't have the open glass part. So I used that as like the bathroom door. And then for the windows, I thought about Horse Ranch, I thought about Jungle Adventure, I thought about Island Living. I ended up settling for the Island Living ones because, again, no glass. It's just like one big open piece. And it kind of came in a matching wood color, so I really liked how that looked. I used a mixture of a couple different styles. I even tried out like the For Rent ones, but they were a little bit too fancy. I feel like this place doesn't want to have ornate windows. It needs to have very like simple, almost like utilitarian type of windows. Everything you put in here, you have to carry up the ladder. So you have to keep that in mind when you're trying to decorate it. It's not exactly easy to get stuff up here, and glass feels like an unnecessary addition, right? So I left just the Island Living ones. Back here, I actually ended up putting another couple of ladders. I liked how they were sort of extra supports off on the side, and also I kind of liked how it made it fun to get around here. So in total, there are 3. There's one that goes up to the bridge in the front where it kind of like splits off and goes to either front door. There's one in the back that goes to the balcony that you can access the bedroom from. And then there's another one on the back that goes all the way up to the 2nd floor. And that's actually the only access to the 2nd floor. There's no interior ladder or anything. So if you want to go up there, you have to actually climb down and then climb back up. Really annoying for gameplay, but I think kind of fun. This whole place is very convoluted and weird, and that was on purpose. It just, again, is really annoying for gameplay because they're super slow when they go up and down ladders. And so me making there be so many ladders in like the most annoying locations, it's pretty bad. So you can see I just placed a couple little bits of furnishings down. That was kind of my way of laying out where the rooms would go, because at this point I hadn't really decided which one was gonna be what. So I was just kind of trying to place a bed, see where it fit, place a table and like some kitchen counters, see how those fit, and then we'll come back and properly decorate it later on. We're gonna start by doing some more of the landscaping outside first. We're basically gonna place a million plants down here underneath the building. So I got a couple things, like a couple extra pine trees that I put in the middle of all of it because I kind of liked how those fit in there. And now I'm using high school years debug because this will make it blend into the environment a lot better if I use the same plants that they have out there. So I've got this like low-lying grass and I'm putting that everywhere, genuinely like everywhere on the lot, but leaving a couple clearings so we can have things like like a picnic table and like some seating and stuff. I used some rocks from high school years debug, and then we went through at the end and added in flowers and stuff. So this is why I got rid of the pond, wait. Why did I call it a pool? This is why I got rid of the pond, because I didn't want to have any terrain manipulation here. Debug and terrain tools just don't really go hand in hand. The regular landscaping sort of adjusts to the terrain a little bit better, but the debug landscaping does not. So if you've got like a big hill like this, your landscaping is still flat when it's from debug. So it just like ends up floating basically. And I wanted to have it look so lush and overgrown. I didn't want it to be floating. It was going to be kind of weird. But I basically just layered a lot of different things down here. We're going to do the flowers now. These are like some big yellow flowers actually from Outdoor Retreat, and I put those around. I kind of sized them up a couple times so I could have some different scale varieties throughout the place. They're a slightly different color than the ones that they have in the environment because the ones around here are white, but I like the look of these a little bit better, so I use them instead. I also put a trash can by one of the ladders. It's kind of like a little stone trash can out back. I used the werewolves mailbox over here because it looks a little bit rustic. And then I have this debug planter that I put by the main ladder. I was kind of trying to make this look like it was the front door, right? I wanted it to feel like an entryway. I also put a couple of those little it's like a rug basically from Riviera Retreat. I put a couple of those at the base of the ladders because I wanted it to be easy to see where they were. I added a bike in, and now on the underside, I'm putting a picnic table. I put a grill down there. I didn't want to put a ton of furniture on the ground because I really wanted the whole place to be floating, but it would be a real waste to not take advantage of the space down here, right? So I wanted to use some parts of it. I did put a fire pit down here, which maybe is not the smartest thing to do, like in real life, to have a fire pit underneath your entire wooden house, especially considering how often these fire pits catch fire in The Sims. Like, thank God it can't spread all the way upstairs because that would be really bad. But there is a fire pit because it feels very off the grid camp like, and you can roast marshmallows and stuff. I also put some planter boxes down there so you've got a little bit of a garden. And now we're going straight upstairs to start furnishing the house, actually starting with the bathroom up here. There's only one bathroom in this house. It is also completely off the grid, so it uses some kind of awful wooden stuff. There's a handcrafted tub, a handcrafted toilet, and a sink from, I think that's the sink from Outdoor Retreat, but now I'm looking at it and I'm not sure. It is the Outdoor Retreat sink, yeah. There's no shower, there's only the bathtub. That's a little bit annoying for gameplay because they're faster in a shower, but the tub just looked better and fit better. I also put some cleaning supplies in here, like some of the things from laundry day. And now I so badly wish that I had the outhouse from the event on this lot, but I actually finished this build before I had unlocked the outhouse. I built this kind of a while ago. This is the last thing I built before Enchanted by Nature came out, which is kind of embarrassing. But the outhouse did not yet exist when I built this. Now that we have it, I would maybe even consider adding it downstairs because it's kind of a fun item to have. And speaking of that event, they actually extended it a full month. It was supposed to end a few days ago, but if you have not played the nature event that's going on right now in The Sims, if you haven't heard of it, you can play through a few challenges in game and then unlock some items. There's like an outhouse and some new rocks and some new clothing and things like that. You can do it pretty quickly and you can also cheat your way through it if you really want to and you don't want to play it, but I highly recommend that you do play the event. You've got some more time, and I feel like it would be a waste to just miss out on getting those items, especially you're watching a Sims video right now. Come on, open up your game. Open it right now. I mean, a lot of you aren't at your computer, but if you are at your computer, open it up right now. Because I know you procrastinated last time and you almost missed out. You're lucky that they extended it, so you probably should go play if you get a chance to this weekend. But anyway, in this bedroom, I did this kind of cute layered rug thing where I layered a couple different rugs from a couple different packs, and then we just had a bed and a dresser, and I put an easel in there. There's a couple objects from werewolves in here too, like the werewolves bookshelf and this super cute werewolves mirror. It's like a moon shape and it's got some crystals and like a vine on it. It's the perfect thing for this room, so I put that there too. A lot of Outdoor Retreat happening in this build. I've got Outdoor Retreat furniture in this bedroom also, like with the nightstand and the dresser and the bed. But that's pretty much all for the main layout of this room. I kind of then just added some extra decor. I put a lot of plants inside because I feel like that kind of made sense. I've got some books placed around, and this uses a shocking number of packs. I mean, you can see just in this room alone, I've got like a million kits. My comfy gamer kit is in here. The greenhouse kit is in here. It's so easy to get carried away with pack content when you start doing stuff like this, especially with decor, because there's just so much cute clutter from all these random different packs. But I think while I'm trying to finish out this room, now is a good time for a little life update. I kind of tend to use these speed builds that way. I'm just like dropping in little tidbits of what I've been up to. But the big update this week is that my birthday's on Thursday, and I'm going to Disney with my family for my birthday. We live in Orlando, but my family like never ever goes to Disney. It's probably been honestly like like maybe even 15, 20 years since I went with my brother to Disney World. So I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be really hot. This is the problem. Having an August birthday and living in Florida is like the danger zone. But it's gonna be a fun day. I'm very excited about it. I'm also gonna bake myself a cake. It'll be a chocolate cake, raspberry filling, and most importantly, my birthday is also Snap's Gotcha Day. As a child, I convinced my parents to adopt a cat on my birthday. This was no easy feat, and she wasn't like a birthday gift, but I had like been begging and pleading and begging and pleading, and I convinced them to adopt Snap, and that was 17 years ago, believe it or not, which is kind of horrifying. She and I have been friends for a very, 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 very long time. She's a little social butterfly, so she's gonna really enjoy my family being over for her Gotcha Day too. She's gonna think that it's just for her. Okay, sorry, back to the build for a second. We're doing some little extra decor outside on the bridge part right now. I wanted to put some more flowers because it's very wooden. Like everything is wood. It's kind of dark, so I wanted to break it up a little bit with some plants. I also put a bench out there. We have some lighting. One of the balconies is so hard to see because it's like almost completely inside of the tree, but on there I put a chess table. Basically that whole second floor is just for skill building. So there's a chess table, there's like a telescope. I mean, everything you could possibly need to build skills, it's gonna be upstairs. I even went back in and added a yarn basket because I started thinking like, okay, what else can I put in that's small that will be useful in the build? And so I added some things like that. I always like this part of the build because I feel like things kind of start to come together. The beginning is always a mess because I'm like placing stuff and then deleting it and then placing it and deleting it. But now you can see the vision and it all kind of starts to work and it's starting to look more finished. I kind of just took a break and added some extra lights outside too. You could tell that I was stalling from doing the kitchen and living room because this room has a weird lighting issue. So I was kind of trying to avoid doing it. It's not an unexpected lighting issue. This is just what happens because inside of this kitchen room, I have like a gap in the floor because I wanted to build it around the tree a little bit. But because it's not technically completely enclosed, the game has it have outdoor lighting instead of indoor lighting. And that's why it looks a little bit darker. It almost looks like cloudier inside because of this. I tried a couple things to see if I could fix it. Like I was looking at maybe trying to put a glass floor through the tree to see if that would help and like sizing it down, but it didn't look good. So we gave up and we let the lighting just be kind of weird. It's only this one room and it's not really bad. It kind of bothers me because I know that it's not supposed to be like that. Otherwise it would be fine, but because I know that it's wrong and it's just because of a glitch, then it kind of frustrates me. And well, it's not really a glitch. The game is working as intended. The game just thinks this is outside, and that's because I've got a hole in the floor. So fair enough. I mean, you're not wrong. It is kind of outside. But off to the left, that's where the living room space is. So I've got kind of like this leather couch. There's some book clutter. We've got a little cats and dogs rug. I did put a fireplace, maybe not the safest. I don't know. The whole place is wood, but I'm sure it'll be fine. And then over here, this is the kitchen. I used a lot of the stuff from cottage living, like cottage living appliances. And then we have the horse ranch kitchen cabinets in here. I've got like some pots and pans on the wall. The other kind of empty space in this room is gonna have the dining table in it. I did for a second try to put a desk. I wonder if I kept the desk. It looks like I probably would have. Oh, that's good. I'm glad it has a desk. That's a relief. We also have a dining table in here. I used a lot of werewolf stuff again. So I had like the werewolves dining table with the werewolves chairs on it. I really like the table from werewolves because one of the legs is a little bit shorter than the others and it's being pushed up with a book, which I think would make perfect sense inside of this old treehouse. Like it's probably kind of rickety and has uneven floors. So they've got that table in here. I also used 4 different chairs at the dining table because I kind of like the idea of it being maybe like thrifted furniture, just things that they found and added in. I also put some bird feathers on the wall. That's one of the collections from Cats and Dogs. And I felt like that kind of made sense too because they probably are doing a lot of bird watching from up here in the treehouse. They've got some fishing decor from the Everyday Clutter kit. Then I went in and added some more clutter from that kit too, like the purse bags and like the mail slot thing and everything. I know I keep saying that the house is off the grid. I actually can't remember if that fridge and stove work off the grid. So the house might be off the grid, but I'm pretty sure it is fully off the grid and that's why I'm using candles everywhere. I am almost like 99% sure that that stove works off the grid, but I probably should open the game and check when we do the tour and then I'll tell you for sure. I don't know why I would have used a non-off the grid stove because that was like my whole plan with the build. But I'm second guessing myself right now. Anyway, I'm just putting some last minute little clutter and decor inside of this living room. For it being really small, it actually is like a really nice shape, I think. And I also think that the gap in the floor really helps with laying out the room because it kind of gives us 3 separate zones. So it worked out accidentally very well. And it's fun when that kind of thing happens because sometimes floor plans are really hard and other times they kind of just come together like magic. And this is one of those magic times. But this last room upstairs is that sort of craft room, skill room. And I know I said I only had one bathroom in this house, I kind of lied. I did put a toilet up here too, but it's really small. It's a 2x1 room that just has a toilet in it, and the sink is like out in the hallway, I'm pretty sure. I did this because I realized as I was building it that if you're gonna be up here skill building, probably like all day, you're gonna be in this room like working on making candles and building the handiness skill over and over and over and over again. And if you need to use the bathroom, they have to go down the whole ladder, walk across the lot, and then back up the other ladder. And I was like, ooh, that's not gonna work out, is it? Like, that's gonna be really annoying. So I did put a toilet up here just because that way it makes it a little bit easier for gameplay. I don't want this to be totally annoying to play in. I also put a couple of soybean plants inside because I have found that when I play with the candle making skill, it ends up being so annoying. I really want it to be fun, but you always need more soy wax and you always need more of those stupid bits and pieces from Eco Lifestyle. There's no way to actually get bits and pieces on this lot. You'd have to just buy them, but I don't think that's too much of an issue, right? Also, I put the sink outside. That was kind of like a last minute call. I didn't want it to be in the room because I wanted to have more space in the room for like skill building items. I went back and forth between a jewelry maker and also between adding in the flower arranging table. The real inspiration behind this was the woodworking table from the event because it's like our first new base game woodworking table in a while, and so that was kind of like the whole starting point here, and then everything else was just sort of a bonus. I actually think that the jewelry making table looks a little bit too fancy for in here, and I remember thinking that when I built this, but now I'm not sure if I kept it or if I changed my mind and got rid of it. I did add a yoga mat outside on one of the balconies just then real quick, and now we're adding in some clutter. I put some things like sawdust and some scratches and like some different tool clutter from the garage kit. Just things that kind of really sold the story of it being some kind of craft room. I guess if you really wanted to, if you were gonna play in this house, you could probably also switch that room to be a bedroom for another sim. I think one of the other biggest hindrances to trying to play in a lot like this is that you can't really have a baby or a pet here because only certain sims can get up and down the ladder. So if you had a baby, I guess you could like put the bassinet upstairs and just never have the kid leave until after they've grown up. Because obviously newborns in the bassinet can't use a ladder, but also the infants and toddlers can't either. And you can't carry them up the ladder or anything like that. And cats and dogs can't use the ladder. You can't carry a cat up the ladder. It doesn't let you. So you could, I guess, like technically cheat to teleport the dog upstairs, but that's just not really very practical for most people's gameplay. So it's not really a good place if you want to have pets or kids either. But not everybody wants to do those things, so it's fine. I just figured I should probably warn you. And I am one to talk. I'm the pent horse girl. Built 2 penthouses that I intended to put horses on in San Myshuno. So it is doable. Like, you can make it happen. It just, you know, maybe you shouldn't. We're kind of doing some last minute finishing touches here. I put some terrain paint down. For a second, I was thinking about trying to add in some ivy on the outside. I wasn't really sure if I liked how it looked or if it was kind of random. I think I just wanted to have some sort of way to break up the plain solid wood, but I kind of went back and forth a lot on that and then almost ended up completely changing my mind. What I did in the end was put a fake balcony upstairs inside of that little craft room. So I got rid of the window and I rearranged a few things and put the balcony up there instead. I guess it's not fake, like you actually can get to it. The door's not blocked or anything, but it's only 2 tiles wide, so you can't really do much up there. But I do think it adds some nice variety. And then it opened up some more wall space for me to put a few of the wall hanging items that come from the garage kit. And I preferred that. I thought it looked a little bit nicer. And it gave me some more space to put lights. Because this house is very dark. Like all around it's very dark. That's one of the biggest problems with it. But I think it's realistic for it to be dark, so it's fine. But having some more space to put shelves with lights is probably a good thing. But with that, the entire treehouse build is complete. I have really been yapping about this one, but I'm gonna pop back into the game and then give you a tour so I can show you around the finished product and like point some things out. Remember, we're on that Little Falls Nook lot in Copperdale. You're gonna have to scroll a little bit to get to it on the gallery, but it's called Off the Grid Treehouse, and I uploaded it on June 24th. Oh my god. I thought it was from July. I'm embarrassed. The entire place is on ladders, so it's not suitable for pets or babies. There is also no electricity or running water. It's in the sky. Why did I write it like that? Okay, well, I mean, it makes sense. It checks out. So this is what it looks like when you first place it off the gallery. There are some things that you're gonna find shocking, especially all of these floating little squares, but those are actually VFX items. So when you're in build mode, you can see the weird square. In live mode, it's just like a little bit of mosquitoes flying around, a couple little fireflies flying around. So it looks pretty cool. I'll show you that in a second too, but I wanna start in build mode. We'll kind of start on the ground floor, I think, so I can show you around here. As you can see, I put a lot of bugs. Like, All these little squares are bugs. But downstairs, very simple. We've got the fire pit, fire hazard. We've got the grill, fire hazard, little place to sit. Way back here, we've got 2 planter boxes so you can grow some food if you wanted to. You can also fish right next to the lot, so you really could live completely off the land here and then like grill the fish that you caught and cook that. But then when you come upstairs, you'll walk up this ladder to go inside the front of the house. And there's kind of like 2 front doors. I guess this one is probably the real front door because it's more of the living space. I even put fireflies inside. So we've got fireflies right there. This is the kitchen, so you can cook right here. There's no sink. The only kitchen sink is outside. I kind of liked that, having to move it out there, because I feel like maybe that makes more sense. They could put a pipe through something somehow. They've got their dining table with the book holding it up. They've got a guitar, and then we have a little bookshelf, some blankets, a couch, and a little fireplace. There's a desk with no computer, just a journal. And then you can walk through this door in the back and then up this little tiny staircase. This will take you into the bedroom. You can also access it from the front if you wanted to. There's 2 doors. There's a double bed. I also put this little ottoman chair because I wanted to have a spot where you could knit. And it also kind of looks like another nightstand a little bit. They've got a crow. They have their dresser, their bookshelf, the yarn, some kind of like storage stuff by the front door. And then the only big bathroom in the house with the toilet, the sink, and the bathtub. Outside of their balcony, they've got an easel and also a yoga mat. I know it's like really hard to see because you're all in the tree, but it's nice to have that. You can come down this ladder and then over here and up this ladder. This is the 2-story one. So this is the only way to get all the way up to the top. You gotta come all the way around. There's a telescope outside over here. We've got a bookshelf. This is the jewelry making table. There's a little toilet that I was telling you about. They've got a violin that was handcrafted. They have the woodworking table, this tiny little balcony, and also wind chimes out front. And then outside this door, they've got their bathroom sink. And then also this is the crystal charging mat. So if you wanted to try and make crystals, you could charge them out there. And there's a chess table too. So that's the whole place. It's honestly not very big. That's the thing. It's weird, but it's not huge. I want to go bring a sim so I can show you how it looks in live mode. So you can see in build mode, weird squares are there. In live mode, they are gone. So you don't have to see them. But this is what it looks like instead. We've got like all those little mosquitoes everywhere. And I put mosquitoes everywhere. I apologize to these sims in advance. But if I make it nighttime, you'll see mosquitoes and the fireflies kind of around. I think the fireflies look really cool when they're inside of the house. I don't know. It's a simple little touch, but I think it adds some liveliness to the place. And there would be so many bugs here. I mean, let's be real. You're in a tree, it's on the water, like it would be bug infested. But that's the entire build. I think on that note, I'll probably wrap this one up right here. I hope that you enjoyed it. I really had fun making this one. It's just fun to build this kind of thing. And maybe I've inspired you to try and build a treehouse for yourself. We've got a lot of stuff for it, especially with the event stuff from the Nature's Calling event, like the reclaimed wood dining table, the outhouse I keep talking about. You can make something work. But thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Make sure you check out my Twitch channel and also my second channel, More Simsie. I don't mean to beg, but I will have them linked down below. And I'll catch you all tomorrow. Okay? Bye, everybody. Also, I know my cat was like in and out in front of my face throughout the whole video. I don't mean to not acknowledge her out loud when that happens. Like, I'll sit here and pet her and just keep talking like nothing has changed. But then for you, a cat head just appears and I don't even address it out loud.